My name's Neil Simpkins. I used to work in the printing ink industry and I decided to go into the teaching career, and I studied in 2012 at Bristol University, and I did my PGCE in science teaching. From having a successful career, although it didn't really feel particularly rewarding, I wanted something more of a challenge. It wasn't particularly challenging where I was, I felt, and I thought teaching would be the natural avenue to actually kind of outlay that. And my love of science has kind of taken me on. I realised I really wanted to pursue a career within science, and particularly kind of expressing my enjoyment and enthusiasm for it. I then went on to have a family and got involved with my son's education, also got involved in the scouting movement, which as a consequence of that I realised I enjoyed working with young people, plus tallied up with the training that I was doing at work, made me realise it was kind of the natural progression from there was potentially to go into teaching. I decided that PGCE was the route to take. I've got a number of friends that are also teachers, and they kind of advised me that, well, for one, they believed I'd make a relatively good teacher. And also they took the same route, they took the PGCE route, they recommended it, and the way the bursary system was working, it looked like the most promising at the time. As a consequence, I applied to 4 local universities because, being a mature student, I'd settled down with a mortgage and a family, so I really didn't want to be travelling too far. The funding side of it certainly seemed to be no problem at all in terms of applying for bursary, and obviously I had to consider the financial side of it, because having a family, I had to make sure that I was able to support them. Financially, there was enough money to be able to survive, pay the mortgage and support my family, so that was a very, very serious consideration for me before I embarked on something that appeared to be incredibly interesting and challenging. Although it was challenging, I also found it very, very exciting. As I had no money worries, it was just a matter of focusing on the study and becoming an effective teacher, so that was kind of my core focus. It was a massive learning curve, very, very steep, completely different to industry, however, very exciting. In life, you go down ever increasingly narrow avenues, and you kind of abandon things you really enjoyed at school, the things that you kind of learnt, the things you kind of studied, but you get to relive all that. You get to relive all the key things you take for granted, the things you've assumed and forgotten about in your travel and your career, and to kind of relive all that and to actually experience science anew a second time round is a fantastic thing. It's fantastic, and to be able to share that with students is just it's just so rewarding.
Okay, just watch your hands.
I think a lot of it is being able to share my understanding of science with others. Having that kind of light bulb moment, seeing it in a child, explaining something, them showing understanding of a particular key idea, and then applying it to something else. I think that's fantastic. For them to go away and come back and actually say that, oh, I realise what you mean, sir, I've seen that at home, it does happen. Just the sheer excitement, just to be able to explain the world around us. I mean, that's why I absolutely love physics, because it's all about the world we live in, and it's from the very small scale to the absolutely enormous. The advice I give to someone who's thinking about moving into teaching is the most crucial thing is to take some time off work and to basically approach local comprehensive schools, ask to attend the relevant faculty for your subject. Okay, in my case it was the science faculty, and just basically ask if you could come in and observe lessons. So you need to at least I spent 6 days within a school, just making sure it's the environment I wanted to work in. Okay, number of consecutive days so you get a feel from the day-to-day kind of activity in the school, and kind of just talk to different teachers. You need to talk to lots of people, even talk to the students, get an idea of what they're learning, what kind of things they're learning, whether they're enjoying them, what makes a good lesson. Just get a feel how teaching and a teacher's day runs, and then obviously you can then decide if it's somewhere you want to be, where you want to spend time. And for me it was quite easy, because after 6 days I realised it was something I really wanted to do. I really enjoyed my time within a secondary school. It's still very easy for someone to do a career change. There are always bursaries available which are weighted depending on where there's a greater need in a subject. I mean, certainly science is a massive need for new science teachers, particularly physics. So very often the rewards in terms of bursaries are very good, and there's all sorts of extra incentives from the government as well. For instance, I've got dependents, so that was a consideration. So I received a small sum to cover looking after my dependents. And also there's some travel allowance as well. So all sorts of things are catered for. You need to check out exactly what's available and just weigh up, because you're not taxed on the bursary, you're not taxed on various things you receive. You do have to pay tuition fees, but the payback time is really very, very generous, okay? So you can live on the tuition fees and then worry about paying back, as you're developing as a teacher. It's certainly no pressure to me at the moment as a qualified teacher. I'm gradually paying things off. It's not, it's a very relatively comfortable and easy situation to be in. So.
That was cool.